Good morning. Welcome to our service at Unity of Boerne online for this Sunday. You're in the house that love built, and I invite you to experience that wherever you may be. And of course, we'd love to see you in person if you're able. But until then, I invite you to join us, be part of us, be part of this experience. I was made aware that we are having some few issues with our PayPal account right now. If you attempt to give and it does not work through PayPal, the button on this page, would you please send us an email and let us know at unityofboerne@yahoo.com. Again, that's unityofboerne@yahoo.com. We'd appreciate it as we attempt to straighten this out. I was just made aware of it just now. So we exist through your free will offerings and donations and your tithes. And I know we're lovingly given. So please let us know if you are not able to donate through our PayPal button. In the meantime, enjoy today. Let's feel the abundance of God's love, the wonder that surrounds us. As I say, come and join the family.
Tom.
Yes. Are there any hard
Not too much. Maybe at the end. Get to the peace song.
Good morning, everyone. Come, is this on?
Good morning.
Take your master day. Master player.
Master Payne.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ann King. Todd, Daughtery is listed as a worship assistant today, but he's having some allergy problems, and he said he might come to church, but he didn't want to be up here coughing, or sneezing, or whatever you do with allergies. We're very glad to have David Rosenblad back again for our music today.
Reading, thank you.
So we're going to start by standing and singing our joy song. I see abundance everywhere.
I see abundance everywhere, God's rich supply beyond compare. 'Tis ours to use and to enjoy, His gift to us without alloy. Prosperity, prosperity, I know my own shall come to me. God sends His children joy and peace, good health and wisdom and increase. And we are grateful, voices raised to Thee, O God, in hymns of praise. I pray that I may ever be the sweet companion, Lord, with Thee, upheld, protected by Thy hand, secure in Thy dear care I stand. Prosperity, prosperity, I know my own shall come to Thee. God sends His children joy and peace, good health and wisdom and increase. And we are grateful, voices raised to Thee, O God, in hymns of praise. There is no lack, all bountiful, His love provides, how beautiful to know God guides us on our way, sustains and blesses us each day. Prosperity, prosperity, I know my own shall come to me. God sends His children joy and peace, good health and wisdom and increase. And we are grateful, voices raised to Thee, O God, in hymns of praise.
Thank you. Please be seated. And I'm looking around to see if I see anybody that it's their first time here, and no, I recognize everyone. But I would like to welcome you all to Unity Church of Boerne today. This is a special day because it's potluck. And we love potluck, and there's a ton of good food back there. Inside your bulletin is a prayer request form, and if you could benefit from group prayer, you know of anyone that in your life that might benefit from group prayer, or any situation in the world that might benefit, please fill out a prayer request form. If you haven't put it in the box at the back, you can do that as the box is brought forward. You can do it after church. Those are prayed for by our own prayer group for a week. They're also sent to Silent Unity, where they are prayed over for a month. And let's see on our announcements. Remember that we do recycle the bulletin jackets, so if you want the insert, take it out when you leave, but leave the jackets till we get down to the end of the month. And next Saturday, we're having a work day. I think if all of you haven't gotten information on that from email, then you might want to sign your email up again, or you might want to look in your spam, one or the other. But it's going to be next Saturday. Pam Gouger, raise your hand, is organizing it. And it starts at 10 a.m. We're going to do some interior painting. Britt tells me we're going to clean out the shed back there too and try to organize it a little bit. And there will be lunch here provided for you. You don't have to bring anything. If you have anything you want to tell Pam, do. If you have any special, you're bringing everything, but maybe somebody has a special ladder, this or that, I don't know. Anyway, Pam's here today, so you can talk to her. And there's also a sign-up sheet under the bulletin board. So if you're planning to come, put your names down so at least we kind of know how many to expect and feed, that kind of thing. We're collecting dry goods again. We've been doing this now. I think this is the third Sunday, but if you're like me, you're forgetting to bring anything. It's for family services, I believe. And the can is always out there now by the front door as you come in. So if you have dry goods, toiletries, etc., I think they go around to different groups. Sunday morning, we're still having our book discussion on The More Beautiful World Our Hearts Know Is Possible, and it's from 9:30 to 10:30. We have coffee and tea, so please come if you would like to. You can join at any time. We just talk. We actually, normally, we go around and we read and discuss, but right now, Pam's got it where her phone reads it to us, and we just stop it periodically and talk about it. So we'd love to have you. I talked about the email thing, potluck today. We have a lot of ongoing Zoom activities. They have a book study, What the Mystics Know, Sundays at 7. There are 3 Course in Miracles groups. 2 are led by Bob Patterson. One is Monday at 7 p.m. and Tuesday at 2 p.m. And then our own Reverend Jay has one Wednesday night at 8 p.m. And then, of course, the Pathlighters is still going on Thursdays. And here comes Diane Pope. Boy, that's a treat. We can say hi, Diane.
Oh, yeah, let's just say hi.
She's about
We're back.
Hi, Diane. Okay. Chris, you're reading the daily word today?
As we quietly and gently prepare for the reading of the daily word, we remember that we are in spirit with millions of daily word readers and churches throughout the world. The Christ candle is lit as a reminder of the Spirit of God within all of us, which we call the Christ within. The word for today is positivity. The affirmation is, I plant seeds of positivity and harvest joy. Every gardener knows that blooms grow best in good soil. Even before planting, it's good practice to pull the weeds and prepare the soil, giving the seeds the optimal conditions in which to grow. Today, I tend the garden of my consciousness. I pull the weeds of worrisome and unforgiving thoughts for new positive thoughts to grow through regular prayer and meditation. When I touch that place of infinite stillness and peace, I affirm wholeness, prosperity, happiness, and security for my life. Like bright, beautiful flowers, these positive thoughts bloom and grow in my consciousness. From Philippians 4:8, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, think about these things. The affirmation again is, I plant seeds of positivity and harvest joy. My name is Chris. Thank you for worshiping with our Unity of Boerne family.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. All right. Please stand. We'll say together our congregational affirmation. Shining words. The joy of the Lord is your strength. God in me is infinite wisdom. He shows me what to do. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me. Naught can disturb me, for Christ is my peace and my poise. All things work together for good. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Faith is the strength of the soul inside, and lost is the man without it. The greatest teaching ever given is Christ in you, the hope of glory. God is my help in every need. Please remain standing. We'll have our celebration song in the stillness of the silence.
In the stillness of the silence, I am one with perfect life. I am healed, I live in freedom. Joy now fills me, thrills me, mind and heart. In the stillness of the silence, I am one with light and love. I am wise, my thoughts are loving. Peace now fills me, thrills me, mind and heart. In the stillness of the silence, I am one with God the good. I am trusting as I listen. Faith now fills me, thrills me, mind and heart.
And now we'll say our opening prayer together. Unity of Boerne is a vibrant, loving, spiritual community, providing a sacred space for spiritual growth. We honor and celebrate the Christ within all people. Thank you. You can now be seated, and I'm going to turn this over to Reverend Jay for the rest of the service.
Good morning. Welcome. Unity of Boerne is a praying church. I say this every week. We uphold and affirm the good, the pure, the powerful, the positive. We also stand with people in their concerns and the upsets of daily life, and sometimes those can be great. I invite you right now to take the love that is in you, the love that's in you, and surround these requests with that love. There is a prayer box in the back. If anyone has any requests that haven't been put in there, I'll wait for a moment. But seeing that don't right now, I invite you to enter this time of prayer. Infinite and loving presence, we invoke your essence right now. We know who we are. We know that we are powerful in our intention of love. We surround these requests, these joys, concerns, and celebrations with love. We know love is the ultimate healer. And we know that your perfect will is done in the lives of these dear ones. We give thanks for the power of prayer, for the knowledge, sure and certain, of who and whose we are, and those that have requests in this box of who and whose they are. Our love surrounds, and we know perfection of your will is present right now. And so it is. Amen.
It's an old song by Sarah McLachlan. I say old, it's about surrender. Doesn't mean much, doesn't mean anything at all. The life I've left behind me is a cold room. I crossed the last line where I can't return, where every step I took in front betrayed me and carried me from my home. Surrender is all that I have to give. Take me in, no questions asked. Strip away the ugliness that surrounds me. I'm amongst angels as I let go, and I only hope that I won't disappoint. When I'm praying on my knees, surrender is all that I have to give. Doesn't mean much, doesn't mean anything at all. The life I've left behind was a cold room. Surrender is all that I have to give. Surrender is all that I have to give.
take a moment and let this wonderful energy come up to me from you all. I get inspired and healed by it. I've appeared to have a few allergies this morning, so bear with me. It's getting better. I'm in front of the people that do so much to me. And I surrender. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Surrendering to what is. When I talked about surrendering to the fact that I may have a physical complaint or something like that, that doesn't mean that I'm giving up. It doesn't mean that I am just wholesale accepting it. It means that I am surrendering to what is in the moment, knowing that if I keep myself and my mental household straight, that I'm going to have a better chance for success in what I want in the future. If I am frazzled, nervous, upset, afraid, down on myself about what I perceive as my weakness in this moment, then I'm not setting myself up for success in the next. I like to live in the moment, and I know that you all do as well. I've heard you say that. And so many times we get way out in our minds and places that we're not meant to be necessarily, because first, it hasn't happened yet, and second, we're not in total control of what happens. The one thing that we have complete, unchallengeable, unquestionable control over is our minds and our thoughts. And that is the only thing that we have control over. We don't have it over people, over events, over the things that we see in the news. Certainly, we sometimes feel so powerless, and sometimes we just surrender, but in an attitude of passivity, apathy, and then sometimes negativity. Well, with all this going on right now, what do you expect of me to feel? How can I see the good in what's going on, not only in my world, but halfway around the world? But it is incumbent on each one of us who are students of new thought, unity, and truth to uphold the best, to surrender to what is perhaps right now, saying, as I said last week, and I love this saying of Walter Cronkite, and that's the way it is. He didn't say, and that's the way it's going to be. It was, that's the way it is. Good mental health, regardless of religious persuasion, spiritual persuasion, commands us to accept what is in the moment. It is a surrender. And the more that we can do it gracefully, the better it is. Have you noticed at times in your life when you surrendered to something, you were set up for something better that you didn't know was in your way or coming your way? We give up those things that hurt us when we're living in the Spirit. We know that the God, the Holy Spirit, the Comforter comes and takes our hands in those times that we feel too weak and feel hard-pressed sometimes to carry on. But have you heard and remembered the phrase, in our weakness is God's strength? So you see, another way of saying it, a person's extremity is God's opportunity. And then we've heard, let go and let God. Those are powerful words. And they can seem like a surrender. But you know why we don't like that word? It's our ego cells that chafe at the idea that we weren't strong enough, powerful enough to endure what happened. And we're not going to say we were wrong. We're going to draw a line in the sand and say, I am not giving this up, no matter how much it hurts. Imagine if we did that in our physical lives. Imagine if we put on tight clothing or tight shoes or something like that and said, I refuse to believe that I bought the wrong size of shoes or clothes. But yet, we hold on to attitudes in our minds that constrict us even worse than anything physically. Think about the judgments that we can accrue in 15 minutes of watching the news. There is ample evidence anywhere you look right now to any news person you may want to hear or see that this world is in terrible trouble, in dire straits, and needs fixing yesterday. But have you also noticed that the only thing that you can fix is your attitude, your vision, your sight, the way you interpret what you hear? At the very least, what we're able to do when we hear things that are not the best, we can send a blessing of prayer. We can see things through the eyes of the Spirit that animates us. And we can allow its full sway instead of kinking its activity through our judgments about how things ought to be. The truth is, reality is. And in one way or another, we're surrendering to it every moment. Have you noticed the things that we don't surrender are the things that have caused us the greatest expenditure of emotional and mental energy, most of the time in a negative way? We don't mind surrendering to something that doesn't really affect us. We don't mind saying, oh, that's over there. We mind that's right in front of us, and especially that has hurt, that has caused us pain. We sometimes don't want to let it go. It's like picking up a hot coal and holding on and saying, I'll make it cool. Throw it away. Let it go. It wasn't meant for you to hold. It was meant for you to walk away from. And the way we walk away from things that are not ours to handle and do and be, the way we do that determines the quality of our life. The graceful surrender that I'm talking about this morning says simply this: it is what it is, and it came for me to be understood. And in my understanding, and in my blessing, and in my seeing differently, I can help craft a new reality, not only for myself, but through the thought patterns of everybody who's thinking the same thoughts. Now, this is just not some way out idea of mine. This is from Ernest Holmes, who said, and I love this way of presenting this, he was the founder of the Church of Religious Science, very close to Unity, and about the same time they both came into being. And Ernest Holmes posited this idea, and it was popularized by Dr. Joseph Murphy, who wrote The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and I'm sure you all have heard these names. But what they both said was that we live in an environment that is sensitive to every thought that has ever been thought. Everything that anybody has done since the beginning of recorded time and before, if you accept this as the truth, has its imprimatur on our atmosphere, in this physical world. In other words, the thoughts that we think, sometimes we pick up from those who have thought similar things. Dr. Holmes said we can get in a vortex, in a pattern of receiving the lowest thoughts, the lowest vibratory thoughts, when our mental atmosphere corresponds to that. So it's kind of like magnets coming together. It's like thoughts of a kind have an affinity for one another. Birds of a feather flock together. One thing goes wrong, and what you hear people say, doggone it, one thing went wrong and everything followed right after that. The thoughts that we choose to think are not necessarily new. They are the ones that we've chosen in the moment. Other people have thought in similar situations probably the same things we are about everything that's going on in our world and everything that's going on in our lives. The Course in Miracles says there are no neutral thoughts. That, to me, buttresses what Dr. Holmes says. Basically, that you're in an ocean of possibility every moment, that there is a neutrality that's surrounding you, and you give it direction by your dominant, habitual patterns of thought. And to surrender to this idea means nothing more and nothing less than the wholesale transformation of your life. Think about what you can do with this. You can take those things that you feel have come against you, those things that you wish you would have never had to experience, or that somebody you love didn't have to experience. And you can see them rightly, see them differently. Dr. Holmes also spoke about seeing with new eyes. Not that we have a brand new pair of physical eyes, but we are refreshed, renewed, and reinvigorated from the inside, set forth to do a mighty work. Have you heard that before? Set apart. You are the light of the world. You are the salt of the earth. Those words were spoken by the master teacher. And when we embrace those for our own, when we take the words that we speak to each other, and especially to ourselves, seriously, then we change our lives. If we allow the thought patterns and vibrations that Dr. Holmes talked about to surround us from afar, from next door, or from ourselves, we end up feeling that life is somewhat of a drudgery. We're walking through it. It feels, as somebody once told me, like I'm walking in mud. I'm walking in wet cement. There's a lightness to life that we can have if we choose it. And the way to do that is to surrender those things that are not for you, those things that really weren't yours in the first place, and be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. The traditional church takes many times these words of the Master and thinks they're very, very sweet to say on a Sunday and to think about, and then through the week it's kind of forgotten until we get together again. I know that because I've heard them say that. They've said, some of these members of longtime churches, they're wonderful people that say, I wish I could get that Sunday feeling. And that Sunday feeling is nothing more than you remembering what was there on Sunday and applying it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. This is what we do here. We come here to remember ourselves, literally. We are members of the kingdom of God, the kingdom of presence, of love, of light. And so this morning, we can surrender, knowing that the only thing that's going to chafe against that is our ego selves. The thing that always gets us in trouble. The part of us that says, I know better. I wouldn't do it this way, and I wouldn't do that way, and we put our foot down, we draw this line that I talk about, and we say nothing new can come in. We may not say that in those words, but that's the attitude. And sure enough, nothing new can come in. But if you surrender to the Spirit within you, to the Christ Spirit within you, to that all-conquering Spirit that knows no limitation, no lack, no loss, no defeat, when you align yourself with that, you walk in a different way. You talk in a different way. And you think, most importantly, you think starting today and then long range in a different way. It's a discipline. That's why it's called spiritual practice. That's why devotees of the great teachers are called students. We're all students of one another. We learn by seeing, and most especially we learn by feeling. And what I've said so many times is, what you feel, you can heal. But what you push down, push back, try to draw a curtain across in your mind, the disowned self, as Nathaniel Brandon called it, those things that we don't want to look at and expose to the light. I remember when I was young and I got cut on my knee or on my arm, it was my mother, I think it was my mother, perhaps it was my father, that said, you know, it's good to have a Band-Aid sometime, but after a while you need to take that off and expose it to light and fresh air and sunshine. It's going to heal faster. That's the same way it is with the wounds in our minds. But oh, how it's hard to surrender the pain, because we feel like we're losing a piece of ourselves. We feel like we're losing our very identity. But our identity is a composite and a compendium of ideas that we've decided to hold. It ain't necessarily so. You are more than you ever thought that you could be right now. And it doesn't matter the age, and it doesn't matter the circumstance, and even the consequence. It matters that you take possession of the one faculty that you have complete control over. And surrendering those things that you know that hurt. And if you feel that you can't do anything about those things that hurt, you get still and quiet, and by lowly listening, you receive the inspiration that takes you into the next phase of your life, into the next moment, sometimes the next second. Sometimes things are so painful that we experience in life that we literally live second by second. I've remembered that in my life. I've seen that and experienced it. And I don't discount it. But I know that in order to be a blessing to myself and to other people, I need to reinterpret those things that I hold on to. So the spiritual life, again, is not so much acquisition, but release. And when you release well, you can acquire more because you made room for it in your own mental household. How many times have we tried to stuff new thoughts into the ideas that we've had for so many years and find what H.M. Lee Katie calls in her book, Lessons of Truth, chemicalization. In other words, the new thoughts are going to collide with those that we've had for a long time and produce perhaps an upset in the body, an upset in our mental atmosphere that sometimes expresses itself physically. Chemicalization is best understood right now. If I had it up here, you've probably seen it in your life in science class or whatever. You take some baking soda and you pour vinegar in it and you have a foamy mess because the two aren't necessarily meant to go together. And when you have a new thought that comes to you and you have the old ideas that you've cherished that may feel comfortable but just really don't work anymore, but they feel comfortable to hold on to. When those two come together, something's got to give. And the new will shy away because we are affirming, you are affirming those things by holding them in consciousness. In other words, it hurts sometimes to let go of an identity. You know, there's really only one identity that I really, really want, and I bet that's the case for you. Identity is I want to remember that I'm a living, loving, breathing expression of the God Spirit, that I stand on the principle that love is all, and that it is made to heal anything, and that the more that I can gracefully surrender those things that have come to me, those baking soda vinegar moments that have happened inside me that I think I just want to walk away from it. Something won't let me. And I bet something won't let you when you get very serious about this process. This is how you order your life along spiritual lines. Also knowing the beauty that you have a field of divine grace to work in. This life out here is your canvas. You get to choose the paint colors. Nitso Katsanakis, I think I said that right, said that. Life is your canvas, and you hold the brushes and the paints, and you get to make of it what you will. The process of surrender can also help those around you. When they see the strength of spirit that you have and embody, to see what's come to you in your life and how you handle it can mean a lot to somebody else who's going through something similar or is having the same type of expression happening in their lives. This is what it means to me to be our brother's keeper, our sister's keeper. Yes, we help physically where we can, but the greatest thing we can do is be an example of what we say we believe. If we stay up, if we stay on the beam, if we work in that direction, people see that example. And it calls on them to rise up. Because they'll look at you and say, what do you have? I see you smiling differently. I see you going through something that I wouldn't smile about. I wouldn't be something that I'd welcome. It's not that you're welcoming it, that you're alchemizing it. You're taking that thing that has come against you and to you, and you're turning it over by a process of spirit in your mind. And you're saying, God, what I can't do on my own right here, show me more. I have heard one spiritual teacher say that their one prayer was, let me see more. Let me be aware. Let me understand myself, and I can understand those around me better. But when I'm closed and I hold on and I draw myself up in a contracted state, and remember, it's first here before it's here, that constriction and contraction. When I do that, I'm not going to get the blessings, and I'm not going to get the benefit of growth. And life is about growth. Life is not static, and you'll note that change is occurrence every day. And so in a world that changes in front of our very eyes, sometimes not for what we think is the good, we remember that we are the agents of the change we wish to see. That means that our actions here today have consequences that we may not know anything about. As Dr. Holmes said, and I refer back, that wonderful idea that thoughts, every thought that has ever been thought, is there for you to match with yours. And when you line up with the good and the best in you, and you have these thoughts around you, because spirit knows no time. So these thoughts are as fresh today, even if they were thought thousands of years ago. They are receptive. Your subconscious, rather, is receptive to them. That's one of the things and one of the reasons why I don't go to sleep with the television on. I want to guard my mental household. I remember one time I went to sleep with the TV on, and I woke up thinking somebody was breaking into the house because I had seen it, I had heard it on the television. That's how powerful our minds can be. When I sleep, I want to lay down to what is a fields of joy and rest. And beside the two cats that give me a little trouble on the bed, I am happy to tune the world out. I'm happy to recreate my mental household. And I know that even if I'm not consciously doing that, I know that by the act of rest, my body is doing that. It's a reset. It's a way of saying, you're going to get another shot after you rest. You always have the power to choose. And the surrender that I'm talking about this morning, what I really get down to, without the idea of the problems that you may face or the situations in your life or the people, the events, whatever they may be, I'm bringing it hopefully back to you to realize that all you can control is yourself and your mind. And all you can do is pray and affirm. That's just not all you can do. That's enough for you to do. And when you do that, when you hold fast to the truths that we teach here, and that new thought affirms, and you get a different concept of yourself, it doesn't matter to you if you need to surrender. You know that if you surrender in this moment to what is, to what you have to do, that victory is assured in other places because you are open to the fresh impression of spirit. That's what we need more than anything else right now in our lives here and the lives of everyone around the world. A fresh opening to the Spirit to have its way with us. But oh, how we hold on because of the identity, what we think is the security, and the feeling that we're right. And I ask you this question this morning: would you rather be right, or would you rather be happy? Would you rather see your life work in an entirely new way by giving up some ideas that you may have held for a long time, but you know no longer serve you now? That can be quite a process. It can be instantaneous, or it can be the work of a lifetime. But remember, you're a work in progress too. You're perfect already, and you're here in this world to do something that nobody else but you can do. So yes, there are going to be things that you're going to have to surrender to all your life. Things that you wish would be another way. But with the attitude that I'm talking about this morning, of being open to spirit and open to something new, you can make your life a wonderful creation. Behold, I make all things new. The words of our master teacher, always talking about newness of life. Whenever somebody was brought in front of him and didn't express the best that they could in their lives, there wasn't condemnation. There wasn't guilt. There was, let's go forward and do something different. Christ Jesus set people on the high road, on a higher path, not looking back, but looking forward to new life. The story of the prodigal son illustrates this very well to me. A son who had done everything wrong, who had held all the wrong ideas, who had gone off and squandered his inheritance in a far country and lived a riotous living and ended up in the pig pen feeding the pigs. And he said, I will arise and go to my father. As the story goes in the scripture, the father saw the son. Son was completely disheveled and a mess and broken. The father said, here is my son who was lost and is now found. And that father ran to that son, put the best coat on him and said, here is my son who was lost and now found. That's the kind of God we've got. That's the kind of love that I'm talking about this morning. Holds no grievances. True love doesn't. It sets us up and puts us on our way. So whatever it is in your life today that you feel you need to surrender, know that you have a God presence more ready and willing than you'll ever know. To love you, to comfort you, to guide you, to strengthen you, to embolden you, to give you new life. It's humbling to me to think about it. Just because I get so used to daily life, we all do, doesn't mean that I ever take for granted one moment of the fact that this inspiration lives me, breathes me, does so many things for me I can't do for myself. I invite each one of you this morning to love extravagantly, outrageously, in ways you never have before, surrendering all those things that weren't for you. Thank them for the lessons that they contain. Thank them for the growth opportunities they've given you. And then step up higher and walk in newness of life. If you do this, if you try it, you'll find at least one thing will happen. You'll be willing to have changed your mind. And in the end, that's the beginning of all meaningful change. Choose once again, unafraid, in strength, in courage, and confidence. May you have that this week and always. And so it is. Amen.
In the midst of his children, the Lord said he would be. It doesn't take very many. It can be just 2 or 3, and I feel the same sweet feeling I felt oft times before. Surely I can say I've been with the Lord. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. There's a holy hush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. There's a holy hush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
In this stillness of our minds and hearts right now, we take a deep breath. We calm our body as we have stilled our mind. We're aware of where we are, our feet on the floor, perhaps our palms and our laps upraised, signifying the opening of our hearts and minds to Spirit. We feel a ball of golden light inside the center of our being. It's warming. And it reaches out with its rays to illumine every dark part of ourselves. In this loving light, we find healing, we find wholeness, we find completion. We take the health that we need. We take abundantly of the good that is in us. We recognize it right now. We're aware of it right now. We're paying attention to it right now. And in this special place, we can surrender those things that have hurt us, that have kept us from being what we can be. We affirm in this place, life is for us, not against us. We remember that we are powerful creators. And to that part of us that may seem scared or insecure, we offer the love. We are set up again, standing straight again inside. The old things pass away, behold, all things are new. We declare those words right now. We allow this loving presence to reshape and reform. And we surrender ourselves to it, our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions, our concepts, all of it. And in gentle faith, we remember once again our perfection, our goodness, and uphold the truth of our being. We are living love. And as we release those hurts, those ideas that no longer serve us, we feel lighter. We feel more joyful. And life takes on a new and brilliant sparkle for us. We are more than capable to do the things we're called on to do. And we do them with love and in peace and with abundant thanksgiving. We take another deep breath and return ourselves to the present moment, refreshed and renewed, knowing it is done to us as we believe. We give thanks. And so it is. Amen.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Beautiful note. I wouldn't even try to hit that. I'd run everybody out. We come to our place in our service right now where we celebrate the law of giving and receiving, where we are happy to donate to our tithes and offerings. We know that as we give with the attitude that we have, it comes back to us, multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. For those who are tuning in, we have had some issues with our PayPal button. And I would very much appreciate it if you attempt to give a gift and you're not able to, that you send us an email, as I mentioned at the beginning of the service, at unityofboerne@yahoo.com, and let us know. Otherwise, we gratefully accept your gift by regular mail to Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. I'm telling you, preachers and money. Unity of Boerne, P.O. Box 1973, Boerne, Texas 78006. Seriously, we survive through your love. There's so much ministry that's happening here, so many wonderful things that are happening here. Lives are being changed here. We're coming together again. It's a wonderful place, and I invite you to be with us when and if you're able. So let us know if your gift does not go through so we can take appropriate action in our PayPal.
freely, freely I have received, freely, freely I'll give. Divine love to me blesses all that I am, all that I give and receive.
Together we say,
Bless each other.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous now. Take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Together we say the light of God.
Stay for potluck.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Tom, and on behalf of all of us here in the sanctuary at Unity of Boerne, I want to thank you for joining in with us today on our Sunday experience, which is always more with you. Here we celebrate our active connection with our ever-present source and creator, and we honor the Christ within each of us. We meet for service every Sunday at 11 a.m. here in the sanctuary, and we invite you to join with us here or tune in to our live stream as you have today. For an email list of our activities during the week and the weekend, simply email us at unityofboerne@yahoo.com. And again, we appreciate and welcome you into our family circle, and we thank you for all of your support. Have a most wonderful, productive, and happy week.